Are you one of millions of people likely to be due a share of up to £18 billion of car finance mis-selling compensation that has just likely been announced right now? I'm going to talk you through who it applies to, up to 14 million people, how much per person, likely high hundreds but not thousands of pounds, and what you do now. If you haven't already put a claim in, put one in, but don't use a claims firm. Those are the headlines. Let me take you through the detail. The regulator, the Financial Conduct Authority, has just announced that in October it will launch a consultation on car finance mis-selling compensation, much as I predicted after the Supreme Court announcement in my video on Friday. That consultation will last 6 weeks and payouts should come in 2026. Now, none of this is firm, but all of it is very likely to happen. The payouts, when they happen, will just depend on what type of redress scheme it launches. If you're one of those people who've already had a letter saying that your car finance firm, after you complained, won't deal with it till December this year, that will almost certainly now be delayed until next year. So before I get into exactly what this is about, the big question you're asking me is, what do I do? So let me read to you what the regulator is saying. First of all, if you've already complained, you don't need to do anything else. If you haven't, it says, our advice remains that consumers concerned that they were not told about commission and who think they may have paid too much for the finance should complain now. We aim to make any scheme easy to participate in without needing to use claims management firms or law firms. Using a CMC or law firm may end up costing you up to 30% in fees of any compensation you receive. That's because the scheme it's looking at doing is that lenders will have to contact you. And there is an issue about whether they have the data, because they have destroyed some of the data, and that'll be part of the consultation. But lenders will have to contact you, and then either they'll automatically pay you or you'll have to opt into a scheme, and that's still debatable, and that depends on the timeline. So either way, this will be very simple to do. So if you were to use a claims management firm and get an automatic payout, the fact you've signed up to them may mean they get 30% of your payout without doing anything at all. And if you've already used one of those firms, then I'm afraid we just don't know what the situation will be going forward. That'll be part of the consultation. So how do you complain? Well, you do it yourself. And an easy way to do it, 3 million people already have, and loads of them tell me it was easy, is we have a tool that's totally free on Money Saving Expert. It does a pro forma template complaint for you. You need to look up discretionary commission arrangements, car finance, on Money Saving Expert, and the tool's in there. I wrote the letter myself, so I think it's pretty good. Right, now let's get into the detail of what this is all about. Now look, there are 2 strands of car finance mis-selling, and this has all been confused in the reporting. There's the stuff the Supreme Court dealt with, in which 2 of the 3 types of areas within that were turned down by the Supreme Court. But there's the other one, the longer one, the one most people have complained about, that wasn't involved in the Supreme Court decision, although it was on hold just in case anything in that decision caused a wobbler for discretionary commission arrangements. And that is the main form of compensation that's going to come out of this consultation. And that, let me explain to you. A discretionary commission arrangement, and these were banned in January 2021, so you're looking at people who got PCP or hire purchase deals before then. If that's you, then this is likely something you need to listen to. A discretionary commission arrangement is when you went to a car broker or dealer and it increased the amount of interest that you were charged to increase its commission without telling you. Now, the big problem with DCAs is that they were hidden. You didn't know you had one. So what the template tool does, the first status, is ask, did I have a discretionary commission arrangement? Of which about 40% of PCP and HP deals before 2021, January 2021, did. If you did, then you are likely to get compensation under this scheme. So those of you who've already had a letter back through the template tool saying, yes, you did have a discretionary commission arrangements, you're likely to be paid out. Now, there are some wobblers in there. So, first of all, you might have had 0% interest, in which case you definitely won't be paid out because there was no interest, or your commission might have been very small, in which case you won't get anything back. Although most people, it's going to be in the hundreds of pounds, and as long as they have the documentation, and that will be a wobble in this, you are likely to be paid out. So this is all about you. Now, there is another type of case as well as DCAs, and this is that 3rd element of the Supreme Court case. The 3rd element was about where commissions were manifestly unfair. Now, this is far more difficult to define because it's on a case-by-case basis. Effectively, it's where the commission was too high. So in the case they looked at, it was 55% of the cost of credit, way, way too much. and they didn't disclose it to you properly, and they also may have purported that they were independent and helping you when they were really acting as an agent of the car finance firm, and they didn't comply with the regulations, and also what type of consumer you are. The more vulnerable you are, the more likely you are to get a payout and it to have been seen as unfair if it was too high. The more sophisticated, the less likely. As that's case by case, unlike the DCA cases, we don't yet know whether that will be dealt with on they'll contact you and pay you back, or you may have to go through the Ombudsman, because that one's more complicated. And I think that's why the timelines have been slowed a bit of how they deal with that. So next, how much? Well, if I stick with DCA cases, the maximum you could get back is all the commission. The more likelihood is it will be the difference between what was seen as the standard interest rate and the higher interest rate that you were charged. The regulator is saying a payout of the cost of this to the industry will be between 9 billion and 18 billion pounds, including admin costs, and most people will get back under 950 pounds per agreement. So if you had more than one of these, it could be a combination of those. There will be interest added on top, because obviously you were missold to put you back in the position, but it won't be what you get through the Ombudsman, it'll be less. So it'll be what's called a commercial rate of interest, base rate plus 1, so it'll be a simple interest of 3% per year, roughly from when this all happened in the first place. So simple means it doesn't compound. What else is on my list here? Oh yeah, what are the wobblers in this? Well, the industry could fight this, and it could fight it hard. Now, I would urge people in the industry, this is a fair compromise. You're going to be paying out far less than you would have done had the Supreme Court upheld what the Court of Appeal said. And actually what we need now is we need consistency, we need transparency, and we need speed, both for the industry and for individuals to get through this. So I would hope that the industry doesn't try and throw more legal wobblers to slow the whole thing down. You know, that we do need to work through this. As for whether this will happen, I think, yeah, the very high likelihood is many people who had a discretionary commission arrangement where they were charged more interest than they should have been will get back a chunk of that in the hundreds of pounds at some point in 2026. Clearly, it's early days. Clearly, nothing is locked in. This is just an explainer on the back of the consultation today. Way more information in the Discretionary Commission Arrangements article on Money Saving Expert, and we'll be looking at doing something on the unfair commission stuff too. But the consultation isn't coming till October, so this is just a heads up so you know what's going on. I hope that helps. Take care.